I'm Gabe, and today we're going to turn some unstructured data into structured breaches so that we can analyze it later. And we're going to put in a public data set, Varus Community Database, so that anyone that is really interested in taking a look at it has the opportunity to do so. For those that don't know, Varus Community Database is at VCDB, vz-risk/VCDB in GitHub. It is a data set of, I think, 6,000 or 7,000 incidents and breaches now, spanning several years, and it's in our structured format, Varus. And not only do we make our data files available to work with it using tools like VarusR, which is an R package you can install off GitHub and has some tools, particularly Git-enum CI, which I think is down here, for analyzing data. But there are also CSV files and a joined JSON file, which I think makes it easier to use in Tableau and Power BI, though I don't use those as much. So with that, I have a list of breaches that I should be working on. And so I'm going to get started. My goal here is to get maybe 3 or 4 done today. So let's look at the first one. Another, I like it when it starts with another, right? Yeah, I know. I need to figure out. I've thought what is the intro? I've watched other streamers, and it's like, what is their intro? You know, it's like the name and what they what they're gonna be doing for the day, and saying hi. It's like, because I'm not exactly sure what the standard is, but I'm working on it. I don't have all the cool stream stuff, the transitions and the away messages and all that. So another unprotected server leaking personal data of millions of Ecuadorians uncovered. So apparently, in connection to the one we did yesterday that leaked everyone in Ecuador's information, they found another one. A company called Databooks, so at least we have a victim name. That makes life easier. Oh, and it wants me to sign up. I don't want to sign up. Let's search for Databook breach and see if we can find any other references to this. Databook breach Ecuador. Well, I'm not sure I want to click that one. Maybe this one. Nope. That's interesting. It's not that old. These are all kind of sketchy sites. Here, this is a little bit more reliable, hopefully. Sensitive data at about 20 million Ecuadorian citizens, including some who are deceased, has once again been discovered on an unsecured server. According to security researchers, the latest finding raises additional questions. It was discovered on a server used by Ecuador by some Israeli programmers who were mucking around while they were bored. I know. Like, I think the first time it's like, yeah, and then the second time it's like they start to smell smoke, Let's see. Ecuadorian government fast response IT team, a statement said in alert prosecutors, potentially legal data breach, asked them to investigate other companies that presumably are illegally using personal data. I wonder if they have rules against it. So this had to have happened, right, pretty recently. But I think we'll just say September. So we can do this one. And this is it's confirmed. I need to actually open this one up so that I have the ID number. Put the GitHub ID in. I'm going to use this reference because it is not blocked. I guess we can put the other reference in just because, but I do need to save this one back with the issue. So this, and come over here and paste it. Summary, exposed database. Yeah. There's not a lot of detail here, at least in this article. You may want to check some of the other ones to see, because we can kind of guess that this happened in 2019 and probably September. Database official didn't immediately respond to comment. Earlier this month, they discovered servers from Navastat. Okay. Those guys got so it probably took them probably hours. They were searching after work. Exfiltration takes minutes because you just have to confirm there's data in the database. Discovery, this is unknown because we don't know whether the company has responded or dealt with it yet, and containment is unknown as well. Okay. Victim is, what do we say? Data someone or another. Data book. Data book. Let's see what we know about data book. Data book. Ecuador. Okay. Oh, that's not a good sign. Actually, I have an Ecuadorian domain. I have infos.ec. Wow, like this is like okay. It appears they kind of just straight up don't have the website online anymore. So there's not a cache of it. So this goes into how much do you want to look at this? This has got to be a small company, just from the basics of it. We'll search. Well, but I mean, their website came up first, so it's not like a whole lot of anything came up. Locate one location because one database in Ecuador. The industry. What do they do? I mean, other than collect data on an entire country's worth of people. We have to go back to the Wayback Machine. Well, I guess I need to select the URL. Oh. The Wayback Machine. We'll see what this page used to look like. Not that it'll help a lot, because it's not exactly going to be in English. I wonder what... So, there's the one they took on August 29th. That was probably early enough. Yes, please translate. So massive database. Company will have the option to renew, clean, debug, and update their databases. So large database updates, web portal, online information, database profiling, web services. So this is again a data company that falls into what is now my favorite Nix code. Oh, and did I open the Nix codes up? I may not have. Now I gotta go find the far smarter bids Nix code again. Let's go back to Google. Far smarter bids Nix. Then they're probably, I assume that they're still offline, so we'll take the cache. Oh, but I need the cache of the other site. Here. See. Oh, maybe they're back online. That'd be great. Hey, they came back. Well, that's nice. Okay. So, data processing, hosting, and related services. That sounds like these guys, and that's the region. Ecuador. Let's see. South America is here. So that's our victim information. I guess we could put in a Ecuadorian state. So these guys actually have a location kind of. So where's Ecuador? There's a lot of ECs in here. They have 24 provinces. And then this company was Data Book Ecuador. And it's probably the address, but I don't know exactly. Make sure we're looking it up right. Let's see. what was the thing over here? Oh, Jefe de Cuentas. And by the way, I apologize for butchering that. I am horrible with languages. Okay, so let's copy this and we'll go back to the Wayback Machine again. And look it up again. See if we can get the address. Because I kind of want to figure out what the state is. I just kind of like the state information. I don't know why. Okay. So Quito, is that one of the states? Okay. Now I lost where my state information is here. Yeah, there it is. Well, yeah. Quito is a city, but it's the capital of Pichincha, which has a 2-letter designation of what? I don't know. If we click it, will I get a 2-letter designation? Maybe it's just a 1-letter designation. We'll do that then. EC-P. Yes. No real secondary victim. Give this one action. And this is the easy part because this is again a misconfiguration of a database, which happens so much. The actor was internal, a system admin with no motive. The asset, we know it was a database because that's what they say. I don't think they said what type of database. When it's known, it's kind of nice to put in, but they don't always indicate what it is. Data was a server used by, well, they say server. I mean, they say database up here and they say server down here. 2-man data, which included vehicles, was hosted on a server located in Germany. Oh, it was down by Wednesday morning. So we now can say discovery and containment happened quickly. So it sounds like discovery and then containment was hours, or discovery was hours and containment was hours, because they took it down basically right after. But it was in Germany, which is probably DE, right? Yeah. We don't know a whole lot else about it. Attribute was a compromise of confidentiality. Yes. 20 million records, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should build this so that it can parse out the commas and make life easier. 20 million personal information, I think. Right? Family addresses, names, family members, phone numbers, vehicle information. Yeah, that's just kind of personal information. This is of other. It's not someone that's part of the organization. State, stored unencrypted. Data abuse, no. We'll close this up. Targeted, no, it was opportunistic. They were just looking for stuff. Discovered by an external security researcher. Value chain doesn't apply since it was an error. And was this a priority assignment? Yeah, this is a priority due to its visibility. This error from internal actor leading to the compromise of the server and confidentiality. So when we've looked at, so we do start trying to pull regional stuff, like country regional stuff, but the problem is it normally shows it's either just a reflection of normal overall trends, like it doesn't deviate much, or it tends to be something that may be due to a specific source. Like it may be that our source in a certain country, tends to favor, like you said, banking Trojans. And so then all of a sudden, if you filter down to their area, well, you see a lot more banking Trojans. And so we haven't seen huge trends. We're trying hard to get more international partners. So if you know international IR firms, law firms, insurance companies, certs, things like that, we'd love to work with them because we do want to collect more international data so that we have, kind of a varied sample in every country or every region, so that we could kind of report on regional trends and have a very robust data set on a regional standpoint. So it's something we're working on. We can do a little bit of regional cutting now, but it's not as good as we want it to be. But we're working on it. So we'll validate this one, save it off, capture it, stick it over here, give ourselves a new one, and get going again. We could close this issue, see what's next on my plate. Okay, so signee. Oh, these are already me. I'm going to go through and do the non-PHI DBR assignments first. I also have some schema assignments that's on my to-do list. I can also skip the Thursdays assignment. We need to actually fix the workflow so that it doesn't assign Thursdays. We have labels that it will or won't assign. And if it's, I took the Thursday off of it. I meant to take me off of it. So let's put the Thursday back on it and take me off of it because Thursdays are done by the group because they are interesting. Tax preparation business at risk of identity theft after the documents were physically tossed out. Oh yeah, this was the one I put onto it, actually put on the list, I think a week or two ago because it's consistent. It's one of those things that actually happens more often than you want. So, okay. We did that one. We'll do mattress company, leaks data of customers. I wonder why this is a priority, just because of the size or... a database lacking password protection. You know how exciting it is to code database leaks every single day? Like, I kind of want to go back and just do the one where they put the paper outside, and that one was a much more amusing one. Confirmed. Let's take this. And the references, we have a threat post reference and then a security discovery reference. See. Summary, exposed, database. Okay. Yeah. That's good. The thing is, I'm tempted to put it in the notes, but what would happen is someone would run into that down the line sometime, and be like, "Gabe, did you really write this?" And I'd be like, "No, that must have been someone else, different analyst." What do we have here? Do we have information? We've got the researcher. I guess securitydiscovery.com. Let me close these Ecuador ones. Did I open that? Yeah. Okay, we've got an article by the actual researcher. That should make this pretty easy. So, hi. And so the time, we know this happened 09:05. It happened. See, I'm not sure this is how databases work. I granted I don't use or haven't used the newer databases a whole lot, but they normally have folders. Is that just me, or is that not necessarily a database? Because, traditionally I think databases have tables or tuples or, things like that. I think folder is traditionally like a file system. So I'm not sure I'm going to record this as a database. We'll say server expose. Because apparently security researchers don't know the difference. Then Virgo mattress factory. So what we've discovered, I mean, they've got a query here, so there's clearly a database. So, okay, so a database exists, therefore we'll call it a database. Maybe it's a server with databases in the directory. I don't know. Despite multiple attempts to comment, reply, acknowledge our message, however, the database access was restricted soon after I sent the notification. So, okay, where did she send the notification? Further investigation found an exposed database. Multiple attempts. They didn't return our phone calls. Nice. Blah blah blah. A little bit of snippy stuff. Compromise. So again, I'll say hours to find it. It's just people kind of fishing around. Minutes to filter through it. Discovery, let's say days to contact them, and then hours to get offline, since that happened pretty quickly after. It's not completely clear how quickly they notified them. Okay, so that's timeline information. The victim ID is Verlo Mattress Factory. What do we know about Verlo Mattress Factory? How many employees work at Verlo Mattress? That's a really nice factory. Like, is that the... Maybe that's just the corporate office. Nice looking place. Employees. Yeah, if it sends you to the link, it's not probably not a good sign. 100 employees on LinkedIn. Let's see if I search here. Let's see if I can catch. Sometimes it says down here when it doesn't say for the company. So if it's going to be 100, I'm going to say 100 to 1,000. Industry. It's going to be manufacturing, but I'm not sure where. Manufacturing. So what are our choices? Food. It's a food. Beverage. Textile. Maybe this fits in textile. Fabric coating. Wait, this is 3. Where's 4? Textile production mills, which is different from textile mills. Textile product mills. Okay. So maybe it fits under that. So the apparel manufacturing. Oh man. Bed. Like what would a bed be? Home stuff. Manufacturing. Home. No, that's building homes. Household refrigerator, motor, home manufacturing. Home furniture. So this is wholesale trade, which is not what we want. We want manufacturing. But furnishings, home furnishings is kind of what we want. So home furnishings, though, does not... Textile furnishings... I'm going to do this. Other household textile products. But I guess I could search for them. I always forget to do that. Like, it's kind of interesting to see what all the other organizations say. Verlo, mattress, factory, Nix. 337910. Oh, there's a mattress manufacturing code. I'm completely missed. Let's try. There is a mattress manufacturing. Learn something new every day. Well, I'm going to use that. Okay, locations 1 because it's a database in the United States. Region North America, and then state. Where were they headquartered? They had that nice, really nice building. It was Missouri, right? Nope, Wisconsin. So USWI. Okay, so there's our victim information, and as we know, the rest of this goes really quick because this was an error by some system admin who misconfigured the database. Internal actor without a motive because it was a mistake. For one, and I'll say database because they have database queries there. Probably mean I'm gonna go with unknown because I after the last one where the Ecuador ones are all out of country, I'm kind of So it's breached. How many records was it? It's only 387,000, right? And I mean that's not even what's like. That's the data total, but the reality is they looked at the data, they counted the number of rows, and they really didn't even look at it all. And so we use this number, but we really need to disclose that it probably is a little bit it's inflated from a breach standpoint. It's not like the records are then floating around on the internet. And maybe when we do analysis, or if we do analysis of the amount, we can make sure to only use where data abuse is not no. Because if it's no, then you can be pretty confident those aren't floating around. I know Snuggie is a blanket, or is a clothing versus a blanket. Yeah, I don't know. I would give Snuggie a clothes, I think. That's always that fun, weird. It's always weird looking at NICS codes. And see, in this area, so looking at manufacturing, it's very robust, the different varieties. Because NICS codes were kind of created when it was very important to be able to enumerate all the manufacturing. And then as it's kind of gotten maybe too much to enumerate, they just kind of stopped, particularly, and then left tech companies kind of in the lurch. And so there's no real robust NICS code set up for tech companies. Or maybe they're working on it. There was a new NICS code put out in like 2018, I think. But it only made minor changes. It didn't do anything robust. So maybe they're going to do that in the next one. So, okay. What kind of data was it? I just want to double check. Include login credentials and hash passwords for internal use as well as IPs, port, pathways, and storage. I'm going to put credentials. Then this is customer data stored. I'm going to say stored encrypted. I know hashed is really the accurate thing, but hashed. So this is again opportunistically found by a security researcher. And I think we decided this was a priority assignment. And then an error by an internal actor on a server compromising the confidentiality. And with that, we can validate it and save it out. And we'll put it over here, give ourselves a spot for a new one, and close this one and move to the next. So, okay, let's see what we got next. So we did this one. These are schema changes. That's a Thursday. Let's do this random one. I like the random ones because it helps keep a nice, diverse data set. Hackers may have accessed 10 months of guest data at BC Western. Ooh, we haven't had a hotel, like a big hotel one in a while. 10 months of credit card information, personal details, because in accommodations, it is always credit card information. Personal details for guests, West Kelowna Hotel may have been accessed by hackers. Now, it's interesting. It's not the whole thing. It's just the specific one. They have a water slide. Kind of like, sounds like fun. Kind of want to go take a vacation, go just ride the water slide a bit. The Best Western plus Wine County Hotel and Suites informed guests the breach in an email Thursday saying an unknown person gained access to the hotel's front desk system. The phishing scam allowed the person into the system on... Oh, good, we've got relatively good dates here. Well, might as well get this one started. Again, this is an older one. Oh, that's why. So September 2017, we go into the 2018 report. This was more common back in this time period. It's kind of dried up a little bit. So this makes more sense now. Summary: phishing used to compromise front desk computers and steal credit cards. Okay, confidence. This is pretty good. The incident happened between 2016 and 09, 17. We'll assume it's when they started, and that compromise. This was phishing. Took minutes. Exfiltration. You know, they probably were exfiltrating data relatively immediately, not seconds. Some malware was installed. Discovery took months. So September to July, we'll say 10 months maybe. Containment, it's unknown. Well, let's see. September 12th. So it took them probably at least weeks, you know, maybe months to contain this. So they notified in September 12th and they discovered it on July 20th from the look of it. So there's our timeline. The victim was Best Western. So the question is, do you code the do you code the individual franchise, or do you code the overall? Particularly since it was only at one location, but normally if the systems are owned and operated by the overarching company, we code the overarching company. And I kind of think that's what's the case here. So we'll probably just put best British Columbia, Best Western. So maybe just Best Western. But they at least should show up. Western, number of employees. Oh, that's not true. I feel this number is slightly low given they have 4 times that in hotels. We'll go check Wikipedia. I feel Wikipedia is not telling the whole truth. Let's see. So to your question about 2016, the breach happened in 2016, but it wasn't discovered until 2017. And so the incident ID is primarily when should this be tracked against. And so the problem is if we track, so the choices are either track the breach when it occurs or when it was discovered. Now the problem is if you don't know when it occurred, you only know when it's discovered, you end up putting in the discovered time. And that happens more often than not, is we just get, here's when the breach was handled. But the problem is if it's a breach that lasts for years or more, right? This one lasted 10 months. It really kind of straddles 2 periods. And so in general, I tend to code them. I think we probably need to write an issue for this. A schema. Let's see, where is Severus in here? Well, oh, this is Varus R. We need to get back to Varus. We'll create an issue for a coding style, coding year, and breaches that span multiple periods. Technically, what I could do is see if did I go and put this in wrong? I put the 2016 in wrong. But from a DBIR perspective, it would go into the DBIR that it when it was found. So it was found in 2017, so it would go in the 2018 report. So The DVR year. DVR year. Does that make sense? But this really should be a coding style thing because we want to make it helpful for people to code them separately. Should be based on when the breach was discovered, as no breach can go into a report until it is discovered. I.e. we have discovery times for everything, but not necessarily creation times. The timeline.incident.year can still be the initial the initiation of the breach, we'll say. Of the breach. The incident/breach. Okay, create a style issue for that. And at some point, Susanna is going to go back through all the coding styles and write up a full document to help people code breaches. It's been something we wanted to do for years. We never really had a good way to do it because, like, it's impossible to sit down and go, okay, what's everything? What are all the what's all the institutional knowledge we need? Someone needs to know when coding to code consistently. You just can't do that. And so we always say okay, well, someone should go and do this. And then, you get to the keyboard to go write it and you can't. And so we came up with the idea of creating the label. And every time something comes up, either in our Thursdays or in this, recording it in here so that we can then collect them. And we're building a good set. Susanna's building a lot of training videos. Like I'm recording these, but she's recording specific kind of standardized cases, like very common ones. Like here's a common misuse case, here's a common error case, here's a common hacking case, here's a common physical theft case. And she's recording videos on how to code those to provide training for people because we want to make this easy for people to use. Okay, so coming back here, victim, Best Western. They had a poor, we were not sure we believed the employee count, so we will search this again. Here. That does not look like the same Best Western. 1,000 to 5,000 employees. It seems maybe it's because they're all franchised, and so they're only counting the main employees. So, but still, it's going to be large. I'm going to go large because it provides a more general definition based off of how people may end up considering it. It doesn't pigeonhole it. Okay, so hotels except casinos and motels. I don't think Best Western counts as a motel, at least that one, because it was inside. It had inside hallways, and I think motels by definition have outside hallways. Locations affected, 1 in the United States. No, this was in Canada, right? This was BC. Look, we would neither confirm nor deny what may or may not be the case there, John. Let's see. BC, British Columbia. Well, I'm sure it's the CABC, right? I should know my Canadian geography a little better than this. Oh. But I'm going to check it anyway just to make sure. Oh, come on. Yeah, BC. There we are. Okay, so it doesn't go there, but at least I got it right. It goes down here in state. And then region is just North America. Let's see. That victim information. This one's a little bit more interesting, right? Because it is a social attack. Was phishing. by email. Kind of those two go together. On a, I mean, you actually know that this was the front desk staff, say cashier, that was used to infiltrate. What else do we know? Obviously installed malware, but it is unclear how. Well, it's going to be by, I mean, it's by email, but we don't know how. So, email unknown. So there's going to just be a normal, like an email in here to roll these up in the next version of Varus. This was a RAM scraper because that's how you steal credit card numbers. That was used to exfiltrate the data. We really don't know that anything else happened in between. Clearly, it's an external actor who can manage RAM scraper software for financial gain. We don't know the location of the actor, and so go to unknown. And you have to put unknown in now, but in the next version of Varus, we're going to remove the mandatory country because it's just, we just don't know it a lot of times. The asset, I don't think we know the total. Do we know that it was just one, or do we, hotel's front desk system? So maybe they had one computer at the front desk. They say the system. So I'm going to say desktop, user desktop. One of them. This was again in Canada. Cloud, no. Or it is known no cloud asset was involved. Which we're going to change cloud to be a little bit better as well. Actually, I code so much faster doing this than I do when I don't have to, or when I don't stream, because when I don't stream, like I just get distracted and I do like anything other than actually code, because it's so much easier to code these while streaming. Payment, we really don't know the amount. I think they don't say, right? Because they just sent out an email and the email went to everyone. Customer data, does it say, does it be compromised? Probably unencrypted. Processed, I think, is how we normally indicate these. Card companies have been notified and then canceled. Cut off the hotels from the guests. Do they say anywhere? I want to put data abuse, yes, just because of how it was collected. So targeted, this is probably opportunistic phishing. Discovery method, I don't know if they say how they discovered it. I'm going to say unknown. They just don't really talk about it. So for this, someone needs RAM scraping malware. So payload, not Trojan, website, other exploit code, botnets. Save. Malware. They had to have email addresses for targeting and had to have an email distribution system. They're also going to have a cache out. A known cash out method. Probably it could be selling stolen goods, but you could also use credit cards to purchase apps and such, where it's a way to transfer money to the attacker. But that's unlikely in this period. In 2017 or 2016, they were very likely just buying things and then shipping them. So actually, I'm going to change that because that was pretty much de facto standard, and we don't know how they're laundering the money. Impact, overall rating. I don't know. Probably. Well, we don't know what their hard costs were. if any. So significant. They just kind of notified people. This one was not a priority. This was a random assignment. The action is a social action by an external actor on a server. Compromised the integrity of the person. Oh, and I forgot to code the integrity compromise. Because if someone clicks a phishing email, the phishing email altered their behavior. So there's an integrity, and then from there we have a hacking action by a malware action by an external actor on a user device, compromise their confidentiality. And up here, this should not be a server, it should be a person. And with that, we can validate this. So we'll save this out. And we got enough time to do one more. So I'm going to try to give that a shot. We'll make a spot for another one here. Close this one. And we'll come back in and let's see, we did this one. I'll refresh this to get rid of the ones that I've already done. We'll do this first, PHI DVR. Ransomware attack disrupts Campbell County Hospital services. Oh man, this is one of those ones where it just like affected the whole hospital. Okay, this one's not going to be a quick one. So, okay. It's been the victim of a ransomware attack that seriously affected the ability to provide patient care. All computers have been impacted. The hospital has no estimate for resolution. That's pretty bad when it is that robustly compromised. The hospital, the Gillette new record report. As president of plant and facilities, the hospital is not accepting emergency medical service transports. Hospitals in Casper and Rapid City are aware. Wyoming Medical in Casper is notified. Wyoming, meanwhile, okay. So yes, do we know anything about how they got it? Hospital was shut off at the point. Purpose of the resolution is to protect the hospital's federal reimbursement funds when patients are diverted. Technological attack, as referred to in Resolution 2020, is forcing patient diversion. Yeah, I don't want that. An attack on the hospital has forced surgeries. Federal, local authorities, do they know how they got it? What are valuing patients? We declined to elaborate. Ransomware attack. It's immediately clear what the attackers were seeking. Probably money, just as a chance. On Friday, the attacks shut down at the outpatient clinic. We are working. This is all useless information. Victim is affected. The vice president says that the EMS transports blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. According to the press release Saturday morning, there was no evidence that any patient data was. That's very helpful. They only encrypted the data. Estimated the system would be back up, but the ransomware affected 1,500 computers, including its email server. That's always important to note. Chief nursing officer still operational. Emergency department is working. I can understand they can't bring anybody. Hospital or the hospital. Cybersecurity authorities have been contacted. I'm not really sure how to interpret that. Staff, it's like okay, so they don't know. I'm going to maybe punt this one until there's kind of a resolution of what happened, because this is pretty new. We know what ransomware is. We know it's doubled or it's big. Ransomware attacks have doubled in 2019. According to what? Case by case basis, health system. Okay, I'm going to put a note on this one to awaiting more information. Where is it? Needs details. Waiting on view of actor actions prior to coding. Now, no action information is clear other than the ransomware. I would guess these normally ones of this scale, the attackers came in using a set of credentials or maybe through phishing, but then actually got inside the network, pivoted around a little bit, and then so a couple of hacking actions, and then dropped malware on everything at the same time to really have the biggest effect. Okay. Oh, this one sounds completely disturbing. Maybe we skip that one on stream. We'll do this one. This sounds like a pretty straightforward one. Okay. 3 people with Texoma ties have been indicted on federal care fraud charges. So the victims found out about the fraud because the insurance companies notified them of phony claims. So we've got discovery. All 3 said people information was stolen. Are still trying to determine how many victims. Every dollar, yada yada. Okay, so it says 44-year-old, 39-year-old, 27-year-old hacked into and stole patient information, then repackaged it as fake orders to medical equipment providers. Okay, so how did they hacked into patient records from past employers? It says worked in the medical field previously and were able to hack into patient records. In this case, I'm going to assume hack means log in. Rather than like they were somehow able to log into their previous employers or hack into their previous employers. So they logged in, downloaded inpatient information from their previous employers. Now, were they previously employed at the time? Were they currently employed or previously employed when it happened? The rest part of statewide crackdown. Okay. So does it say operated through all North Texas? We had 58 people charges last week. Okay. We don't have a lot of time about when this happened or how long they've been doing this, which would be nice. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start another one. It's confirmed. Not as much detail as we'd like. This is a little less consistent. Got one reference here, which is really only there because they want to make a note about it. Medical employees hacked, logged in to prior employers, stole medical info and used it for Medicare, medical insurance fraud. Okay. Which is not an uncommon thing. Timeline. Okay, so we're going to say this happened in 2019. They're just talking about it now, but okay. Compromise. We really don't know how long it took them to get in. Exfiltration, I'm sure, was relatively quick. Oh, come on. Doesn't want to stay open. Minutes. Discovery unit. We really don't know how long it took them to discover it until they did something that triggered the fraud alert. And then containment. Again, they don't talk about it. Because that wasn't really the point of the article, so they didn't want to talk about those things. The victim in this case, I guess it's the employers, found out the fraud insurance companies notified them. So do we know 3 Texans for health fraud charges stolen by the we don't know. Victim ID we can leave blank. Unknown. Industry, we know they were in healthcare. Which is 72. No, 62. There we go. So 62 locations affected, at least 3. In the United States and America. This was all in Texas. And we know that there were at least 2 other victims. We'll say 1 victim here, 1 location each, but 3 victims total. The action, and we are going to use hacking, but we're going to use of, well, so we have a case for this, or we have a various coding style thing for this. What to use when using credentials after leaving the company. There's 2 options. We can code it as exploit configuration. This is kind of my preference. This is kind of the old or the traditional way to do it. And so I'm going to use the traditional way for you now. But I kind of like the idea of coding as exploiting configuration in the future because it's the lack of them turning off the credentials. It's unknown how they actually did it. This was used to probably infiltrate and exfiltrate, though they didn't really elevate privileges at all. The actor was external to the victims because they were former employees. Former employee. Well, that will work. Financially motivated. United States, in this case. And so we can code the region. No real name. I mean, we could put their names on. No, this is for... Name is for groups, not for individuals. The assets were at least 3 servers. We're really not sure what kind of server. In fact, I mean, well, yeah, we'll just put server unknown. Because it could have been about any kind of healthcare server. We're located in the United States because that's where the crime was, where it was prosecuted. Confidentiality was data disclosed. Oh, yes. The variety was medical information of patients. And it was certainly stored when the data was abused. But we don't know the amount because we don't know the number of targets. This was opportunistic because they had access to their previous employers. They had nothing specifically against them. Discovery method was external by fraud detection. And value chain, they really didn't have any value chain. It was all kind of default. They didn't put any effort into it ahead of time. This was a PHI DBR assignment. So this was hacking by an external actor on a server asset to steal compromised confidentiality of data. And we can validate that. Perfect. So I'll put that in here. We'll close the issue, which I always forget to do. By the way, y'all are welcome to yell at me when I forget to close these things. Yeah, like sometimes we have groups like that, but you know, not enough to like if it's not going to show up again. And if the Jackson 5 start stealing data, then we'll start it. Like, I don't know, it's been a long week. I'm tired. We went to the circus with the kids last night, and so they had a good time, but they were up past their bedtime, which meant we were up past our bedtime. So the tea hasn't quite kicked in this morning yet. So I promise to yell in future episodes. So you can come back. That'll be the teaser for the next time, is to come back and see episodes. Or if you'll be around besides Augusta, you can come and see me yell in person. Because there's all sorts of fun stuff to yell about when I'm doing my presentation, or just in general. So anyway, if you won't be in Georgia next week, this weekend, I will see you next week, next Tuesday, at 10 Eastern. So until then, have a safe weekend and have a good week. Goodbye.